Hello and welcome to the 30k channel, a channel dedicated to games set in the Horus Heresy. I'm your host, David Brains, and today I'm really pleased to say that I've been joined by Greg Dunn from Imperial Truth. Greg,
hello.
G'day. How are you?
Good.
Excellent. We also have Dan Como.
Hi.
Thanks, Dan. Now, these two gents have kindly come up all the way from Tunbridge Wells days, so they've put some great mileage into coming to see us. So thank you very much for your trip.
That's all right.
I needed an early start this morning, so appreciate that. And you've brought me Mechanicum.
Yep.
Pretty cool Mechanicum list.
Yeah, slightly different to a lot that I've seen.
Yeah, it's very different to the list that I usually run. You know, heavy Castellax and Thanatar with a bit of Scoria action. We've got a very different list, which we'll see very soon. And Dan, you've brought us some really lovely Sons of Horus as well.
Thank you. Yeah,
great stuff. For some reason in my head, I thought we had Mechanicum and Space Force. When we turned up, it was like, oh, there's Sons of Horus. Yeah. I really should read my notes. That's what I should do. But anyway, so we've got Sons of Horus and we've got the big man himself at the front there. Fantastic news. Now, Greg, you and I was on your podcast a while ago now, wasn't I? We had a bit of a chat. And after we'd finished, Greg and I said, well, you know, the channel should reciprocate and you should come on. And it's been in the calendar for quite a long time, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Been painting away, trying to get it all finished.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and Dan, you put some good... You put some good time in this morning, I think, didn't you?
Yeah, I was still up till 2 o'clock this morning, just finishing a couple of the units I don't normally use. So just wanted to bring something a bit different.
Great stuff. Well, that's awesome news. Cool. So let's talk a little bit about the mission we've got for you today.
Sure.
Now, Greg, you can take the lead on this.
So I run narrative events. So the idea of my narrative events is not always to find the best player, but to tell stories. So I adapted every mission, all my events pretty much. So we've got a modified Tide of Carnage from the main set of missions, but we play it with the Search and Destroy deployment, which means there are effectively two separate no man's lands. Yeah. So I've split the points up for that. So you don't get it. It's not counted as one; it's counted as two. Yeah. So it's the same points, but you have to have two to do it.
Great stuff.
And then added on, there are lots of amazing rules in the campaign aspects that Forge World put out. And one of them, stolen from the Isfan campaign, is I'm trying to remember the name of it now.
Raging Inferno.
Raging Inferno. That's absolutely. I got so used to reading it in my own pack. So we've essentially got the earth cracking and lava coming up. Is how we're representing it on our table. Yeah. There's lots of ways you can do that. So. As we go into each shooting phase, there will be a marker placed on the table by the owning player's shooting phase, and it will scatter 3d6 unless it rolls a hit. Yep. And then everything within 6 inches of that takes a strength 5 AP dash hit. Yeah. So it creates some no-go zones or some risky go zones. Yeah. And it can also mean people can't hide quite so much as well, potentially.
So it's extra damage taken from an exterior force, and as we discussed earlier, it might block off certain areas, but then you might decide that you want to go through it. A bit of a calculated risk. May take some damage, may not. So it's quite an interesting dynamic, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a bit of fun as much as anything else. It can create some weird, crazy things. Particularly thralls tend to die fairly well.
Oh, poor thralls.
Yeah.
And it's worth noting as well, if you have a scoring unit in your own deployment zone, that's worth 1 point. If you have a scoring unit and no other opponent's units, it's 3 in the no man's land, 3 victory points, and then 5 if you're in your opponents with none of their units. And then secondary, we've got First Blood, Last Man Standing. I'm trying to read off the front of it. Slay the Warlord, Pacifalia, and Night Fighting.
Night Fighting and reserves in use as well. Yeah. Again, that's the nature of a narrative event. It was... you try and balance lists over 5 games, so those extra rules can be good for allowing different armies to do well in different events.
Yeah. So it's good. It's really looking forward to it. And it's a bit of a different mission, and Greg's put some really great work into doing this, getting it all ready for us. So I really appreciate that. Thank you.
No worries.
And also, Dan, I'd like to thank you for not bringing Phosphex on your launches there. So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
You've restrained yourself there, which I like.
I mean, I've balanced that. There's still the shatter shells still on there. So
still good.
Yeah.
But I think Phosphex just takes it to that next level, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely.
I was at WoW yesterday, and there were some guys. They were running the Leviathan with a Phosphex,
Yes.
and those Phosphex they just take units out, don't they? They're pretty scary. So good on you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And we've got 9 jet bites. They don't seem that often.
No, absolutely. I mean, we originally when we were originally trying out the list, I was running them in a big unit of 9.
Okay.
Just to have that large shooty unit. But I found splitting them up works quite well as well. So, but yeah, they do bring a little bit extra firepower as well.
Pretty fast, and we've got a lot of firepower there as well. A couple of plasma cannons and heavy bolters, and that's good. And Greg, I'm looking over your Mechanicum list. I'm quite familiar with Mechanicum, and we've got an Arla-Tax at the back here.
Yeah, a friend put that together, converted, obviously, because there's still no model.
Yes.
So took that off his hands. But essentially, I collected the models I liked. So I started with the Thanatar and the Vorax when they were absolutely rubbish. Slightly better now, they've got the poison shots.
Yeah.
And actually, the Caslax are one of the last things I've added.
Okay.
Caslax and the Ursarax, I bought them recently. But the good old trusty Grav Myrmidons are a stalwart of my Spartan killing endeavours.
They are pretty cool, those Gravs, aren't they? Really, really good. And you've got the 40k weapons on there as well, because we're still waiting for weapon options for the Myrmidons, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a different story.
Yeah. We need those too.
Tony Cotter will give us weapons.
Please, we're begging you. Good stuff. Well, I think you've agreed. We've got some lovely armies, and we're going to go over the list very soon so you guys know what we've got. I can't call this. I usually have a little thing in my head like, I think maybe Mechanicum win Sons of Horus, but I'm not too sure at the moment. So we'll find out very soon. We've got a really interesting mission to keep us on our toes. Any comments you'd like to say before we get going, Greg?
It's about Horus. If Horus goes down, I'm in the strong seat, and it's whether Dan can handle the things that can handle Horus, particularly. But we'll see. You never know. The dice will decide a lot of things, as they always do.
A lot of AP come from Mechanicum, Dan.
Yeah, that's the issue. So
me too.
Need to try and keep things alive as much as possible. I've got to try to bring a fairly balanced.
Yeah. You've got a lot of firepower.
It's quite a bit of mid-range firepower there, and a fair bit of mobility as well. So we'll see how it goes.
All right, I'm looking forward to it. Well, thanks, guys.
No worries.
And we'll go straight to the lists.
This is a 3,000 point Mechanicum Tagmata list led by an Archmagos Prime. The HQs consist of an Archmagos Prime. He's equipped with a Chain Fist, a Paragon Blade, Augury Scanner, Cyber Familiar, Machinator Array, Phased Plasma Fusel, Gene Skin, and he's riding an Abeyant. And he has the Malagra rules. Alongside him, he has a Magus Dominus with an Architect Pistol and Melt Bombs, and a standard Magus Dominus. Into the troops, these are my Tech Thralls, regularly used as a bodyguard or a throwaway unit when Horus comes running. They are equipped with, there's 20 of them, equipped with Carapace Armour, the Rite of Pure Thought, and Revenant Alchemistry. 3 Thalax, these are armed with 3 heavy chain blades, multi-bombs, and a multi-melter. Second unit of Thalax, these are just equipped with a Photon Thruster. And to help me kill Terminators a little bit better, I've got another unit of Thalax armed just with a Photon Thruster. And the big boys of the troop section is 3 Castellax. They are equipped with a multi-melter, and 1 has power blades. They also have the enhanced targeting array. Into fast attack, and the Vorax have been designated to try and assassinate Horus. They are equipped with bio-corrosive ammunition for their rotor cannons and enhanced targeting array. Carrying on, we have my Arla-Tax with a Power Claw and an Arc Scourge. He is my Paragon of Metal, and he is my homing missile. We have 6 Ursarax filling out the fast attack options. 4 have power fists rather than claws. Going into heavy support, we have a Thanatar class Siege Automator. As usual, he comes with a Helix Plasma Mortar, which gives some threat to Horus when he deep strikes, and he is also equipped with an enhanced targeting array. And filling out the army, we have 5 Myrmidon Destructors, all with Graviton Imploders. These are to discourage Horus from dropping too close and to finish off what the Thanatar begins.
3,000 points of Sons of Horus, led by the War Master Horus himself. First up, we have the big man himself, Horus, and his two lieutenants. We have a Praetor in Cataphractii armor. He has a combi weapon with Volkite, a Thunder Hammer and digital lasers, and a Primus Medicae in Cataphractii armor. For elites, I've got 2 Contemptor Dreadnoughts. One is armed with twin-link las cannons, and the other has got 2 Carrier's assault cannons. Next up, I've got an Apothecarian detachment with 2 apothecaries. Both have got artificer armor. Each will be joining a tactical squad. Try and keep them alive a little bit longer. My third elite choice is 3 quad launcher rapier carriers, and they've been upgraded to include shatter shells. Next on to troops, I have 2 units of these. They're both exactly the same, of 15-man tactical Space Marine squads. They are upgraded to include a Legion Vexilla. Next on to troops, I've got 2 units of these. Both are 15-man tactical Space Marine squads. They have been upgraded to include a Legion Vexilla, and the Tactical Sergeant has been upgraded to include Artificer Armor and Melter Bombs. For my third and fourth troop choices, I have 2 units of 5 Just Air Terminators. Thanks to Horus, they go from an elite choice to a troop choice. Each squad has got a multi-melter. They have all armed with power axes, and the others have got combi bolters. The other great thing about Horus is that he makes these units able to deep strike, and combined with their survivability, now that they've got 2 wounds each, they're absolutely fantastic for that reason. On to fast attack, I have 3 Jetpike Sky Hunters. There is a plasma cannon in the unit, and the Sky Hunter Sergeant has a power fist. My final fast attack are 6 Jetpike Sky Hunters. There are 2 plasma cannons in this unit, and the Sky Hunter Sergeant also has a power fist.
Here we are, guys. We're deployed and ready to go. Sons of Horus versus Mechanicum. Now, Dan, you won the roll off to see who deploy first, go first. Is that right?
I did.
And you gave it to Greg.
Yep.
Excellent news. So, Greg, are you keen for first turn or?
Yes. Yeah, I made my scout move, and there's a bit of open terrain to get across. I probably need to do that quite quickly.
Great stuff.
So.
But, Dan, you've had the advantage of seeing where Greg's deployed.
Exactly, yeah.
And you're going to try and seize.
Yes, yeah. The advantage of running Horus is that he allows me to seize the initiative on a 4+. So I really want that to come into play.
Excellent stuff. All right, well, it's shaping up to be a great game. Gents, can we just have a friendly handshake, please?
All the best.
You too.
Good stuff. And we're on to the seas.
Here we go. Yeah, just.
Excellent. So, Sons of Horus, turn 1.
Sons of Horus, turn 1 shooting. The first thing to happen was the Inferno marker erupting. It scattered slightly from where I originally placed it, but was still in a good position to target quite a few units and models. And unfortunately, thanks to Greg's rolling on his armor saves and feel no pain, only 1 thrall died. Next unit to shoot is going to be my Contemptor Dreadnought with las cannons, and I want to try and start taking a few wounds off that Thanatar if I can, so that's going to be my first target. Contemptor Dreadnought with twin-link las cannons is going to shoot the Thanatar. I'm going to try and get a couple of wounds off of that. So I need 2s to hit. So that's 1 hit, but it's twin-linked, so I get to re-roll the 1. 2 hits. And the Thanatar is toughness 8, so I'm wounding on 3s. 2 wounds.
And of course, it goes through my armour, so I'm left with my atomantic shielding. So I'm going to try those 2 saves of a 5 up. 1 made.
Sky Hunters are targeting the Vorax. I've already shot with the 2 plasma cannons. One scattered wildly and hit the Arlatax, causing a wound, and the other one scattered slightly but still managed to cause a wound onto the Vorax. Next, I'm going to fire the heavy bolters, of which there are 4, so I've got 12 shots hitting on 3s. 8 hits, wounding on 5s. So 1 wound caused on the Vorax. Because it's AP4, he doesn't get an armor save. To spread out of my deployment, my tactical squad on this side ran up the flank, and the Contemptor tried to get into a little bit of cover, so he ran behind the container. To finish off my shooting, I fired my quad rapiers at the thralls using shatter shells, and after a bit of scattering, I managed to kill 4 thralls and 2 wounds onto the Castellax. So it was okay. Overall, my shooting, it was a bit of a mixed bag. I was hoping to do a little bit more damage to the Vorax with the jet bikes, especially because I know that they're pretty quick and I don't want to get into combat with those. And it was about average shooting with the quad launchers into the thralls. Started to make a little bit of a dent into them as well.
Mechanicum turn 1 movement. The Arlatax is on Operation Face and has flown itself forwards. The Vorax are hopefully going to use their reprieve from the shooting and have advanced as far as they can. The Archimagos Prime has joined the Myrmidons. This is to put Horus off from deep striking too close, as due to the augury scanner I'll be able to shoot him. The Thalax have generally not moved a lot, as this unit are in good overall position to shoot what they wish. The other unit, having only rolled double 1s on their movement, had no choice. The Thanatar has remained in place to get the full range from his gun, and the Thralls are trying to avoid the Inferno that is raging. The Castellax are leading the line on the other side of the fight, and the Ursarax on the far side have decided to try and push as far as they can forwards in a hope of getting into contact with the Sons of Horus tactical squad. Mechanicum at turn 1 shooting. The Inferno marker hit where I wanted it to. The only unit I managed to damage was the quad launchers, killing 1 Sons of Horus and doing 1 damage to an actual unit itself. The Inferno blast in the Mechanicum lines managed to kill 2 Tech Thralls and do 1 wound to one of the Myrmidons. At the start of the phase, trying to do my Cyberthurgy powers, attempting to heal the Thanatar from 1 wound. That was successful. Trying to heal the Arlatax from the other Magus Dominus, unfortunately was not successful. The first unit I'm targeting with the Thanatar, or have targeted with the Thanatar, is the jet bikes. I'm about to do a Thalax shot on them as well. The Thanatar scattered ever so slightly but hit 3 jet bikes. Dan chose to jink. He managed to make 2 of his cover saves, which are at -1 due to the enhanced targeting rule. Unfortunately, 2 of those saves have to be re-rolled due to the Plasma Mortars special rule, and saw 3 jet bikes get removed. The Thalax that are next to the Thanatar are now shooting their photon thruster at the same target, as it's pretty much the only thing they can see. So that's 2 shots, strength 6, AP2 with the gets hot special rule. So fingers crossed for no 1s. So that's 2 hits and 2 wounds. 2 saves, because you're jinking, yep. Which are -2 because of the Thalax.
So I'm now jinxing on a 6 up. So failed 2 and 2 are killed.
The Photon Thruster has a blind special rule, so Dan needs to make a blind test on his jet bikes.
Okay, so this is initiative test, and I need to roll 4 or under. And that's a pass.
The second unit of Thalax are targeting the Contemptor with the twin las cannon with the Photon Thruster again. So they need 3s to hit on 2 shots. That's no hits and a gets hot roll. So I'll make an armor save for my Thalax, which he fails, and a feel no pain of a 6+, which he also fails. That's the end of my turn 1 shooting. Just before we finished, I ran the Ursarax forwards, trying to get a little bit further up the board. Overall, a decent turn. A lot of my guns aren't in range, but I put enough firepower onto the jet bikes that I only left 1, and he failed his test and ran off. which gives me first blood, which is always useful, and a lot more control of that side of the board. Horus will probably be arriving turn 2, so I've got to weather that storm and hope I can come through it.
Sons of Horus turn 2. I've started by deep striking Horus. I didn't need to roll for him, and I can choose which turn he comes down because of his special rules. The other unit of Justarian, unfortunately, I didn't roll, so they didn't come on. And the second unit of jet bikes, I outflanked into the rear of the Mechanicum. The rest of my movement, I moved one of my units of tactical squads have just moved further into the area of no man's land, ready to defend against the units that are coming in towards them. And the Contemptor Dreadnoughts both moved up to try and get some line of fire on some of the units. Other than that, the rest of the army stayed still, just ready to weather the storm. Sons of Horus turn to shooting. The fire marker has come down and landed just behind the Thanatar. Fairly successful on my side of things, with a few wounds taken off. One of the thralls died, a wound taken off of the Thalax on the top of the building, and the Myrmidons, one was killed there. So that was very good. And over in the Sons of Horus lines, a single Marine died. Starting with the outflanking jet bikes, they shot at the unit of Myrmidons, quite close to them, and took off a single wound with a plasma cannon, and unfortunately the heavy bolters were all failed to wound. So that was pretty unsuccessful. Horus is going to shoot next with the Talon, and he's going to target the Arlatax. So it's 3 shots, hitting on 2s. All hit. And it's strength 5 versus toughness 6, so wounding on 5s. That's 1 wound, and it's AP 3.
Which is my armour save, so I go straight to my automatic shielding. On a 5-up, I failed that.
The rest of the unit continued to shoot at the Arlatax, and unfortunately I got lots of shots off, but failed to do any wounds. Next up, the Contemptor Dreadnought with the twin-link las cannons is going to shoot at the Arlatax. I really want to try and kill him. So 2 shots hitting on 2s. So that's 1 miss, but I get a reroll. 2 hits. And strength 9 versus toughness 6, wounding on 2s.
Okay, so I've got 2 saves to make again on the automatic shielding. 5-ups required, so 1 made.
Ooh. I failed to kill that Arlatax, so I'm going to have to shoot with the other Contemptor Dreadnought with the 2 Keres assault cannons. See if I can try and take off that final wound, because I don't really want that getting anywhere near my lines. Ballistic skill 5, I'm hitting on 2s. 12 shots. With 8 hits, I now need to roll 4s to wound with 6s to rend. Fantastic, that was 6 rending hits. So Greg now needs to roll 4 5-up saves.
Yeah, gonna happen. Or not. Let's see if he explodes. So on a 6. No, he doesn't explode.
Well, at least that's 1 threat out of the way. Next up, this unit of Tactical Marines managed to shoot their bolters into the Ursarax, trying to flank them. Actually managed to cause a couple of wounds. Now I'm going to shoot the quad mortars with shatter shells into the Castellax. Okay, so that will be 12 shots, hitting on 3s. With 8 hits, I'm now wounding on 3s.
So 6 wounds, they're not going through my armour, so 6 3-up saves to make. Just a couple of fails, which have to go on the front guy, so that's not too bad.
That's the end of the turn for Sons of Horus. Now that Horus is on the board, hopefully he'll be creating a lot more threat with his presence. The shooting went pretty well, managed to kill the big monster that was coming towards me, which was fantastic, and taking off a few more wounds off of the Ursulax and the Castellax will hopefully come in quite handy.
Mechanicum turn 2 movement. The Ursarax have made the great leap over to get into those tactical squads, avoiding all the dangerous terrain. The 3rd unit of Thalax with deep struck with a multi-melter aiming at a dreadnought, hopefully. The general advance of the line, the Vorax and the Castellax both pushing up, with the rest of the army moving away from Horus quite sensibly. And the back lines generally staying in stationary to get a good target with their weapons, and the Myrmidons turning to try and deal with the jet bikes who have just appeared. The Inferno and Marker scattered, unfortunately, quite far, but managed to take out one Sons of Horus from that squad. The other one rolled a lot of dice. Unfortunately, Dan made all of his saves, and having moved further away from the other two, the Mechanicum escaped unhurt from their ones in their deployment zone. The first act of the shooting phase was to use my Cyberthurgy to make the Thanatar fire his weapon twice, and his target was Horus's unit. There was a slightly small scatter onto the back of the unit, resulting in 13 hits over both templates, and I managed to remove 2 Just Daring and put 1 wound on Horus, which I was hoping to do just a little bit more. Combined fire from both photon thrusters from the Thalax units were put into Horus's unit as well. Unfortunately, only managed to sneak 1 wound through onto the lead Just Daring. Turning around to deal with the jet bikes are my 4 remaining Myrmidons with their Grav Imploders, 16 dice, hitting on 2s, re-rolling 1s for preferred enemy. All hits, wounding on the armor save of the enemy, which in this case is 2 up, and I get to re-roll 1s again for preferred enemy everything. So re-roll the 1s. All wounded.
The jet bikes did declare to jink at the beginning of the shot, so I get to roll those now on a 4-up. I have failed more than 3, so they are dead.
The Ursarax have opened up with their Volkite weaponry, scoring plenty of hits on the Sons of Horus armour. Unfortunately, it did hold up, and only 1 died. Due to some poor deep striking, the Thalax have few targets, so turn their multi-melter onto the Just Daring, unfortunately failing to do any damage. But the Castellax then opened up, managing to take the wound off the already wounded guy, Just Daring, and killing him off. The Vorax take their turn to open up, managed to shred the Just Daring that was protecting Horus, but that was only the 2 wounds. Not bad for rotor cannons. And that's the end of my shooting phase. Not a bad one. Most of Horus's unit dead, not as many wounds on him as I would like, and the Ursarax ready to pounce in the combat phase. Turn to assault from the Mechanicum. The Ursarax easily made their charge, surviving all the incoming shots. The Sons of Horus managed to take 1 down before the Ursarax struck, but in return they killed 7, breaking the unit, unfortunately unable to catch them. So they are fleeing back towards their table edge, and hopefully I can get them next turn and wipe them out.
Sons of Horus turn 3. The second unit of Just Daring Terminators finally decided to arrive, and they did scatter quite close to a board edge, so that was a little bit of a tight squeeze, but they just managed to land there. The Horus with his 2 buddies have moved up, ready to take on the Vorax, a bit of shooting and a close combat. The Dreadnoughts have moved around to try and protect that fire lane a little bit more. The unit of Tactical Space Marines have finally stepped away from that Inferno geezer, not taking more wins from them. The other unit of Tactical Marines has rallied and ready to stand their ground against the Ursarax, if they're still there. And other than that, everything else has stayed where it is. Sons of Horus turn 3 shooting, so the geezer newly erupted but scattered quite far over to the containers, so it was ineffective. The other geezers in the Mechanicum lines erupted against the Thanatar but didn't cause any wounds at all. The geezers in the Sons of Horus lines erupted, causing a few more hits on the quad mortars but failing to do any wounds on them. The newly deep struck Just Daring Terminators opened fire on the Thalax in the building, managing to cause 1 more wound. The newly rallied Tactical Space Marines opened fire on the Ursarax but failed to do anything. The quad mortars are now going to open fire on the Ursarax that's slowly getting further into my lines. We've got 12 shots hitting on 3s. So that's 8 hits, needing 2s to wound.
7 wounding hits means relying on my 6 up, feel no pain, and beginning to regret not being able to put more shots into the quad mortars. So 6 ups. 1 save. That's 2 dead Ursarax.
To try and finish off the Ursarax, the Contemptor Dreadnought with Twin Link Carriers opened up on them. Managed to inflict quite a few wounds, killing another one and wounding one more. The Contemptor Dreadnought with Twin Link Las Cannons opened up on the Castellax, causing one more wound over there. And Horus and his unit opened fire on the Vorax, managing to kill one. Turn 3 for the Sons of Horus assault phase. The only charge we had was Horus charging into the Vorax with a lucky Overwatch shot taking a wound off of Horus, but he's made it in and he's going to now beat face. With the end of the combat phase, saw Horus charge the Vorax, and of course he managed to wipe them all out to a man. Unfortunately, that means he's now out in the open and there's some grav weapons pointing directly at him, so we may be at risk of losing him next turn. At the end of the phase, we see Horus roll for his It Will Not Die, and of course he made it.
Mechanicum turn 3. The Ursarax have marked their prey and are moving in to finish off the job they started. In the centre, the Castellax and the Thalax have advanced, probably to deal with the Contemptors. Behind them, the Thralls have spread out a bit, and the Thanatar has moved up as he can't shoot this turn because of the Cyberthurgy last turn. The Thalax have moved into a position where they can threaten the Justaerin if they're required, or maybe pick off another target if they need to. And to face off against Horus, 4 Myrmidons have aimed all their grav cannons, grab imploders, directly at him. The Inferno marker hit this time, trying to deal with the Sons of Horus tactical unit, only managing to kill 1 person, but it was the Sergeant. Lots of hits around all the other blast markers, no wounds on either side. Mechanicum shooting phase turn 3. I'm going to open up with the most important shot of the lot. The Myrmidons are going to try and take out Horus and hopefully finish this battle this turn. So we have 16 shots. Hitting on 2s, re-rolling 1s. A couple of 1s in there. So they all hit. Thanks to the 2-up armour of the unit, I need 2s to wound, re-rolling 1s. And again, just the 1. That's 16 wounds, 16 saves, Dan.
Thanks to Greg's Graviton Imploders, he managed to cause 16 wounds on this unit. Now I've already failed 2 saves, which has killed the Terminator, so now I just need to see how many 3-up invulnerable saves Horus can take. So
no pressure.
Right. Oh, that's the first fail. Let's see if I can pass his Feel No Pain. Yes. Next one. Pass. That's a pass. Pass.
Oh my word.
That's a pass. That's a pass. That's a pass. That's a pass. Fail. So let's roll for his Feel No Pain. Fail. So he has taken 1 wound.
1.
Next one. It's a fail. Feel No Pain. That's another fail. So he's taken 2 wounds. I'll keep rolling. That's a fail. And a fail of Feel No Pain. So he's now down to 2 wounds.
What's the worst that can happen?
I think I'm going to have to try and pass these on to the Primus Medicae because I'm not feeling too lucky about this. So let's take my lookout, sir. So it's passed. So he's got his 4-up invulnerable, which is failed, and a Feel No Pain, which is failed. So he's taken a wound. And the final one, it's passed the lookout, sir. And he's passed his invulnerable save. So they both still live. But at the moment, Horus is left on 2 wounds and the Primus Medicae is left on 1.
First thing to do is Cyberthurgy, and I've chosen to heal a wound on the Central Castellax, which this time I got that one off. The 2 Thalax units at the back decided to take a shot at the Justaerin coming up the rear. Having done a wound, 1 unit did a wound, the other unit failed, but the Archmagos Prime turned his attention on them and did another wound to a separate model. The Thalax are going to open up on the Kerry's armed Contemptor in front of them. We have 1 lightning gun in the front arc and 1 in the side. So I'm going to start with the 1 in the front. 3s to hit. So that's a fail. The 1 in the side. is also a fail. There is also a multi-melter in the unit, so we're going to try and hit with that one, which we failed to do. Having watched the Thalax completely fail, the Castellax are going to take their turn into the Cary's Armed Contemptor. We're going to start with the multi-melter into the side. This is a 2 to hit for Enhanced Targeting Array. Unfortunately, it's just out of range, so no melter rule, but that is a pen. So that's a 5-up invulnerable.
Okay. And I failed my 5-up invulnerable.
Damage roll. I've rolled a 4 because it's AP1, it's +2 to go to a 6. That is now immobilised. They also have the Mauler Pattern Bolt Cannon, which can glance on the side, so that's 3 shots needing 2s to hit, and needing 6s to glance. Nothing. The Ursarax have opened up into the tactical squad. Unfortunately, Dan saved the only wound that was put through. The Ursarax launched into their target once more. The Sons of Horus struck a wound before the Ursarax could attack. Unfortunately, the Ursarax only doing 1 wound back means a locked combat, a drawn fight.
The Sons of Horus, Contemptor Dreadnought, gets to attack first in this combat because I've got a higher initiative. I have lost an attack though because I'm immobilised, so it's 2 attacks. Weapon skill 5, so I'm hitting on 3s. So that's 1 hit. And I'm strength 6, so I'm wounding on 3s. Failed to wound.
In retaliation, the Thalax are using their Melter Bomb, which, because the Contemptor is immobilised, if I hit, will hit the rear armour. So we're going to have to try and hit first on a 4. That's a hit. Rolling for armour penetration. That's a pen.
I do get a 6-up invulnerable save though because of adamantic shielding, which I failed.
And the damage roll. That's a goodbye Contemptor.
He's exploded.
At the end of the turn, because of the Warlord trait I had, which gives it will not die to a unit of robots of my choosing, the Castellax in the middle of the unit managed to get a wound back, which is really good. The Contemptor being destroyed is fantastic. The Cary's really hurt units like Thalax towards the end of the game. That hopefully will keep those units alive. Bit disappointed not to do a wound extra to Horus, maybe 2, but he has to wade through some more fire yet before he can really hurt me.
Sons of Horus turn 4, movement phase. Horus has moved up towards the Myrmidons, ready to get some revenge on them. The Contemptor Dreadnought that is remaining has moved backwards, ready to shoot. The tactical squad has stepped backwards to try and get away from those flames. And the other squad is locked in combat, so they can't move. The quad mortars have turned around, ready to shoot at everything that's advancing towards them. And finally, the Justarian in the back lines has just moved round to try and get a few more shots off onto the Phalanx in the ruins. Sons of Horus turn 4 shooting phase. We start with the Inferno markers being placed and erupting. We finally saw one of the quad mortars going down in the Sons of Horus line. The other markers in the Sons of Horus line didn't cause any wounds at all. And in the Mechanicum line, once again, no further wounds were caused, but there was a newly erupted geyser in the middle of the building, which did manage to cause a wound on one of the Phalanx. First unit to shoot was the quad launchers that opened up into the unit of Thalax that were in front of them, managing to cause quite a lot of wounds and leaving 1 Thalax left on a wound. I then shot him with my Contemptor Dreadnought with the las cannons. Both hit, but then I rolled double 1 to wound. Moving on to Horus, he shot at the Myrmidons in front of them, managing to cause a wound. I then shot with the unit of Justarian Terminators in the corner at the unit of Phalanx in the building, managing to kill 2 of them. Sons of Horus, turn 4 assault phase. So the only combat we've got is Horus, who's charging into the Myrmidons. The Mechanicum have rolled for their Overwatch and have managed to score 4 wounds, which are AP2. So I just now need to try and save them. So I'm going to start with rolling them against Horus's invulnerable save. Let's see what happens. So first one needing 3s. I failed. So now I need to take a Feel No Pain test. And he's passed. Oh, right, I'm going to try the next one against Horus. 3 up to save. Oh, failed again. Another Feel No Pain save. And he's failed that one. So Horus is now down to 1 wound. So because of that, I'm now going to start to take some lookout sirs and pass them on to the Primus Medicae. So on a 2-up. Yeah, and then I need to make his 4-up invulnerable save, which he's passed. And then the final shot, needing a 2-up for the lookout sir. Oh, I failed the lookout sir. So it's a 3-up invulnerable save.
This could be his last action.
It'd be so embarrassing if he manages to fail against the Overwatch and doesn't even get into combat. But let's find out. On a 3-up save, and he's passed it. First combat resolved was the Tactical Marines against the Ursarax, and managed to cause enough wounds to take one out, leaving one alive. He then struck back and caused 2 wounds against me, so that was 2 wounds apiece on each side, which has resulted in a drawn combat, and we're still stuck there. Horus is now going to enact his vengeance out upon the Myrmidons, and he is going to swing with his Talon, try and cause as many wounds possible. So we have 7 attacks on the charge. I need 3s to hit. Okay, so that's 2 misses. So that's 5 hits, needing 2s to wound, with Shred, so I get to reroll. So that's 1 reroll, which I've made. So that's 5 saves at AP2.
That means I've got my refractor field saves requiring 5 ups, none of which are saved. So that is 3 Myrmidons dead.
After Horus's amazing bit of combat there, the Primus Medicae piled in, but unfortunately he wasn't able to reach anyone, so he wasn't able to strike, and then the Myrmidons just wiped him out. So we've just got Horus left, locked in combat with a Myrmidon and a Magos. Now at the end of the turn, I'm going to roll for Horus's It Will Not Die. On a 5-up, he will regain one of his lost wounds. No.
Turn 4 Mechanicum movement phase. The Thalax and Castellax are pushing on into the enemy territory, supported by the remaining thralls, trying to hopefully capture some ground. The Thalax has turned around, the Thanatar has turned around to deal with the Justerans in the backfield. The Thalax have also moved alongside the Thanatar, and the lone Thalax is trying to escape to a point of safety, if there is such a thing, on this board. And possibly most importantly, the Archmagus Prime has spotted a wounded Horus and is going to try and finish him off. The Inferno marker for this turn was attempted to try and take out those tactical marines, but scattered off the board, so hasn't been put down. We've taken another crew member off the Rapier team, which is always good to see. There are lots of hits around for a lot of the markers with no wounds being done again, except for the Thalax hiding in the building there has taken a 2nd wound. So carrying on Mechanicum turn 4 shooting, the Magus Dominus healed the front Castellax using Cyberthurgy. And then just in front of that, we have a Thalax lining up against the Contemptor with the Multi-Melter. So 3s to hit. Again, a miss. The Castellax have opened up into the Rapier crew, killing the front crewman and doing 1 damage to the Rapier carrier itself. The Thanatar chose to open up on a prime target of Justeran. Unfortunately, it's scattered big, managing only to hit 1 and failing to wound. The Thalax have turned to try and take on the Justerans, hoping to kill the one at the front there who's sitting on 1 wound. Unfortunately, the Terminator armor proved to be too much. However, they did fail their blind test from the Photon Thruster hitting them, so they are Weapon Skill 1 and Ballistic Skill 1 for next turn. Mechanicum turn 4 assault phase. We're starting with the Ursarax versus the Tactical Squad once again. The Sons of Horus armor once again proving too much, this time on the champion, being able to absorb 1 of the hits. The Ursarax only causing 1 wound after the Sons of Horus had done 1 wound to the Ursarax. Once again, we are tied, so they won't be going anywhere till hopefully next turn. The Contemptor is up first, so Dan, go ahead and roll your attacks.
Okay, so I have 3 attacks, hitting on 3s. That's 1 hit, wounding on 3s. 1 wound.
With a 4-up armor save, which is a save. In retaliation, I'm going to try and plant another Melter Bomb, this time on the front of a Contemptor. So needing 4s to hit. It's another hit. And hopefully going through the armor, which we do.
And I will get a 6-up invulnerable save, which I fail.
So once again, adding 2 to the roll. It's another 4, that's a 6, so immobilised. Into the main fight of the phase. The Archmagus Prime has issued a challenge, which Horus has accepted. This means that Horus will be going first. Dan, you're using the claw.
Of course, so Horus is going to use his Talon, and he's going to try and do all of his attacks into your character.
Hitting on 3s.
Oh, so
that's awful. Reroll that.
Yeah, that's a cock dice.
Reroll it.
Okay, so that's 3 hits. Needing 3s to wound with Shred. Oh, so they all failed. But I get the reroll. That's 3 wounds. AP2.
Now, due to the extra war gear, I've got a 3-up invulnerable save. And I've passed all 3 of them. Now, I had chosen to use my Chain Fist in this attack. I've got 3 attacks on a charge, plus having 2 specialist weapons, plus Malgara rule. So I need 4s to hit you. That's 5 hits. And it's 2s to wound. That's 3 wounds.
Okay. Horus has only got 1 wound remaining. He's got no other bodyguard around him to try and tank this,
No
so he's going
pressure.
to have to take them all on himself.
1 at a time.
3-up invulnerable save. First one. He passes. Second one. He passes. Can he stay alive for another turn? He passes. He's still alive.
Until I make my Machinator array attacks. So I've got 2 attacks with that. That's 2 hits. And needing Toughness of Horus is 6.
Yep.
So needing 5s to wound. 1 wound. With Shred. So I get to re-roll that one. So just the 1 wound.
Okay. And what's the AP on that one?
2.
So once again, he's just got his 3-up invulnerable save. Can he make it? Yes, he can.
Okay, so the rest of the squad also get to attack. So we have a Myrmidon sat there with a Power Fist. Now, you are weapon skill 8?
7.
7. So 4s to hit. 1 hit. Strength 10. So that's a wound. So that's another 3-up invulnerable save to make.
Okay. Can he make it? Yes, he can.
Excellent stuff. So I've still got a Magus Dominus to attack with. Not much chance of doing anything. So I need 5s to hit. No hits. So nothing happened. It's a stalemate. And that will carry on into the next turn. Unfortunately, I'll lose an attack.
Horus lives.
For now.
Sons of Horus, turn 5, starting with movement. Now, night fighting is now in play, and this could potentially be the last turn of the game, so this is going to be quite important. The tactical squad has remained where it is, just trying to hold that quarter. The Contemptor Dreadnought still locked in combat with that remaining Thalax. The Quad Mortars stayed where they were, they just want to try and shoot as much as they can. The smaller tactical squad is still stuck in combat. Let's just hope we can win that one. The Justair and Terminators have moved up closer to the Thalax to try and possibly get into combat with that. Now I am blind, so that could be a bit of an interesting one. And finally, Horus is still locked in combat with the opposing Warlord and the Myrmidon and the character with him. So I just really want to try and survive for as long as I can there. Sons of Horus, turn 5 shooting. We started with the eruptions of the fire. A new geyser has erupted right by the Thalax there, and with all the other eruptions around it, managed to kill one of the Thalax there. The other eruptions didn't cause any damage to anyone else. Over in the Sons of Horus line, other than the quad mortars, everything else was out of range, and there was no wounds done to the quad mortars. So shooting was quite minimal in this turn because everything is either locked in combat or dead. But the Justaerin did open up against the Thalax in front of them. Because they're blind, they are usually ballistic skill 1, so therefore hitting on 6s. But thanks to their special rule, they're in rapid fire range, which gave them +1 ballistic skill hitting on 5s. And I did manage to cause a wound on that unit. The quad mortars then opened up with shatter shells into the Castellax and managed to cause 2 wounds on them. Sons of Horus turn 5 assault has started with the Contemptor Dreadnought trying to kick the Thalax in the face. He did manage to cause a wound, but now the Thalax is going to try and kill that dreadnought with a melter bomb.
Indeed, he seems to be equipped a whole bandolier of them. So let's see if he can hit on a 4-up. No, he's let himself down.
The dreadnought
That
lives.
means I've lost the fight. So we're going to try and... I am stubborn. So leadership 8.
Oh,
I'm running.
please.
Having failed my leadership test, I fall back a full 5 inches towards my table edge.
The tactical squad against the Ursarax managed to finally punch him down. It's now left them free to move a little bit further into that table quarter. The Justerin successfully charged the Thalax, and after a grueling combat where I lost 2 Justerin Terminators, I managed to cut down one of the Thalax, but still one is left alive. And we're back onto the main event, where Horus is going to try and take out the opposing Warlord.
Bring it.
So 6 attacks with his Talon, hitting on 3s. That's 1 miss.
Uh-oh.
And strength 7 means he's wounding on 3s. Okay, so that's 1 fail, but I've got shred, so I can reroll that. So that's 5 saves.
5, 3 up invulnerables. What can go wrong? 1 wound. The Dominus is up first because everyone else is initiative of 1 with their attacks. So he's going to be trying to hit Horus with a lot of hope in his heart. And he hits twice. And wounds not at all. So he's done. We'll do the Archimagus Prime first. He's my grand hope. Hitting on 4s with his Chain Fist is 3 hits. And wounding on 2s. So he's still strength 10 at the moment. Means 2 wounds. 2 invulnerable saves.
Okay, still on 1 wound, so only one of these needs to fail for Horus to die.
It's not like you made plenty this game already.
We'll see if I can carry that on. First one. He lives.
Oh my word.
And the next one. He's still alive.
I've got one last chance. This Myrmidon is stuck. Watching this challenge, he has 2 attacks. He needs 4s to hit. He's failed. Oh, Machinator Array also as well. So this is on the back of the Archimagus Prime. So hitting with his weapon skill is 2 hits. And needing 4s to wound. 5s to wound. 2 wounds at AP 2.
2 more invulnerable saves of 3 up. First one. He's still alive. 1 more for this phase. And he's still alive.
Change those dice.
At the end of the phase, Horus is still alive with 1 wound. But I've got another it will not die save to roll. So I'm going to roll that now. On a 5 up, he regains a wound. Which he doesn't.
Mechanicum turn 5 movement. Again, I haven't got many units to move either. The Caslax have moved up to threaten the remains of the tactical squad who saw off the Ursarax. The Thralls have moved into scoring in no man's land, hoping that the tactical squad dies. The Thalax that is bunched in around the Caslax failed his rally test, so he is still running, unfortunately. The only other real moves are the Thanatars stepping in to deal with the Justerin, and one final Thalax is trying to hide behind the armoured containment containers in the corner. Mechanicum turn 5 shooting, a quick one. Again, I tried the risky Inferno marker which scattered off the table. Lots of hits again on the Rapier crew to no avail. Most of everything else was out of range except for in the mad corner with the Justerin, who you now see are no longer in combat because the Thalax died, which was the only wounds caused over there. First up in the shooting phase, we have Cyberthurgy placed onto a Castellax to try and deal with the tactical squad, managing to kill one, but the rest of the shots being absorbed by the Primus Medicae's better armour, the Apothecary's better armour. The rest of the squad, however, including the Multi-Melter, managed to finish off the squad, hopefully securing that quarter for me. The Thalax did have a cheeky shot at the Contemptor, unfortunately needing 6, didn't quite get it. And then the Thanatar's Mauler pattern bolt cannon rarely sees use, but managed to take 1 wound off a Justerin, hopefully softening them up for the charge. Mechanicum turn 5 assault in a rash motion, some might say. The Thanatar has leapt onto the Justerin and due to its immeasurable bulk has caused the Justerin to fail their fear test. It's resulted in 1 wound getting through on the Just Aaron, finishing off 1 model, and 1 wound coming back from the Praetor and his Thunderhammer. So the Thanatar is now concussed for the next round. Overall, a good turn. We're on to the big fight now, and again, Horus is up. Can he survive another round?
Well, first of all, he's actually just going to smash the opposing warlord in the face.
I'm not worried.
Another 6 attacks from his talon, hitting on 3s. 1 miss. So that's 5 hits total. Wounding on 3s. So that's 3 hits, 2 misses, but reroll for shred. And they're all in, so that's 5 saves, AP2.
Okay. No worries. 3 up invulnerable again. Regularly failed lots of these. Enough, he's dead!
Yay!
Oh my word, that's my warlord down. So that's not good. So we'll remove him from the fight. The Magus Dominus is up next. Going to get some revenge for his Archmagus Prime going. And we have absolutely no hits because he is weapon skill 3. So we'll remove those. And the real master of this fight will now be proved to be a Myrmidon. And he needs 4s to hit, which he gets a couple of. He's still strength 10. 1.
Oh.
1 invulnerable save to make on Horus.
Well, because I've only got 1 to make, then odds are I'm going to fail it.
Do it.
If I do fail this one, you do have to promote that particular Myrmidon up to Magos status.
Oh, he's dead! Woohoo! So that's both warlords taken out in one go. Unbelievable. That's the end of Mechanicum turn 5. The unit that just killed Horus have just squeezed out of line of sight, just in case there is a final turn, because we have to roll for that. So on a 4+, we go to a final turn. No, that's the end of the game.
Good game. Yeah, fantastic game. It was brilliant.
Cool.
Great stuff, guys. Okay, so we'll have a bit of a wrap up out the front, and we'll come back to you with the results.
Brilliant.
We're back. Wow, what a game.
Yeah.
Horus, what a beast. all those saves,
I know.
man.
When he makes the saves, then
Far out. Far out. And Greg, good win for you.
Yeah.
Board control.
Yeah, it worked. Almost everything kind of worked roughly how I wanted it to.
Yeah.
Nothing was too extraordinary.
Yeah.
But I thought for a second there Horus was going to ruin all my plans.
Yeah.
But, perseverance.
Yeah, you did well. I think you wound them down, didn't you? So scores on the doors at the end. Surprisingly, the Mechanicum won 10-1. Sons of Horus. So
it did feel like it should have been a lot closer than that.
Yeah.
6 of those points were in 8 wounds. At the end of the day, a Thalax survives, scores 3 points, and
that's right.
8 thralls or something like that. So 7 thralls.
Yeah,
is a big swing.
Yeah. Just looking back at the game, your jet bikes were really unlucky to peel those Vorax out first off.
Yeah.
And then when you're out flanking, Vorax came on, and the Myrmidons just did them, didn't they?
Yeah.
They're awful, those Myrmidons.
And again, unlucky not to kill maybe an extra Myrmidon.
Yeah.
Which is 4 less shots.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
I probably should have been a little bit more conservative with the jet bikes, and their positioning may have been a bit better. Hopefully, they would have survived a bit longer then. But hindsight and all that.
Yeah. Hey, it was a really great game. Really exciting to see it unfold. And from my experience playing Mechanicum, they don't tend to move very far, but you certainly got out there in the front, didn't you, and moved around a bit.
I mean, at the end of the day, the Castellax were never in range to challenge anything. Dan, wisely moved away from them, and a couple of bad runs through movement through terrain didn't help that. But they're still putting on pressure in that kind of mid-range kind of deal. Some good shooting.
It's great. And you've obviously both brought back some models, so we'll start with Horus, the man.
It had to be Horus, really, didn't it? So
the amount of saves you made was just unbelievable.
Absolutely, yeah. So I mean, it's a lot of points in one model, and he can't be everywhere, unfortunately. But when he gets to places, then he holds things up and he kills things.
Yeah, and he did well. The first couple of times, I don't think he was that good, but you got that real good strike on Greg's Archmagus Dominus and. Magos Prime. So I should know that.
Yeah,
my mind's going. You did in one round. I mean, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the little things like coming down exactly where he wants to means Dan could try and control. Obviously, the rolls didn't quite work that way, but trying to control that part of the board and the little help he gives to other units as well, making the Just Aaron scoring meant I really had to try and deal with them at the end. Otherwise, Dan would have got 5 victory points for,
Yeah.
for the end, which is a big chunk of points.
And obviously all of his extra special rules, like +1 leadership to the entire army, is fantastic, and allowing me to outflank as well for units, as well as the deep striking itself as well. So he just brings so much to the army.
Oh, he's just such a solid character, isn't he?
Yeah,
So,
and he's a beatstick. So.
he is.
He's all right.
Oh, smug over here. So, Greggy, you brought back your Myrmidon Destructors, and rightly so, I think.
Indeed. 1 wound from about the second turn. We've had the jet bikes did the 1 wound to this one guy, and he was at the back of that Horus unit. And yeah, I mean, even losing 1, you're still putting out 16 AP2 shots. It's fantastic, especially when Terminators are put on the board. I just think Dan, unfortunately, didn't quite have the manoeuvrability to get more shots on them.
Yeah.
Because they can, the 2 wounds, they can fall down quite easily. And not having a vehicle to run them in, normally they like to stick near a vehicle.
I was surprised that you didn't bring a Trias. I run mine a Trias, and they can get right into the middle of the field and then threaten anything. But, they obviously didn't need it.
Well, yeah, and again, for this matchup where Dan wasn't taking the vehicles, being able to deploy that unit anywhere I wanted to means Horus units probly dies in 1 turn.
Yeah.
So it's not really a fun thing to do.
Of course.
But having taken Horus's head, he is looking destined for higher places. Archmagos position available.
It's only right.
As the crushed, mangled abeyant, he can pick up and repair off the battlefield.
Good stuff. Well, I really enjoyed it, and I really hope you guys at home really enjoyed the game. It was great fun to watch. I hope you guys enjoyed it too. All that remains to talk about now is Greg, Imperial Truth. We need to talk about that.
The Imperial Truth is a podcast. We record 2 times a month, and we talk about everything heresy. So we talk books, we talk the lore, we talk models, we talk painting. Neil, my co-host, won the Slayer Sword at the Heresy Weekender. So it's kind of good to have him on, because my painting's okay, but nowhere near that level. So yeah, we cover everything, and we get authors on. We had ADB on, John French, people like that as well. So we try and put out something that's informative and a bit entertaining at times. Try our best anyway.
Great stuff. And then they can find you on iTunes, is that right? If you want to go,
iTunes, all your usual podcatchers. Just search for The Imperial Truth, and it should pick us up. Or go to theimperialtruth.com, which is where we hold all the links for the site.
Great stuff. And not only do you run the Imperial Truth, you also run a few events around the country, don't you?
Yeah.
So what you've got coming up.
This game we played was from one of my events. You're coming to Stockport.
I am, yes.
On the 2nd and 3rd of September. I've got First Blood, which is happening at Element Games, and that is the first in a whole series of events based in the Malrain system. That's the first one. So that's a 5-game, 2-day narrative heresy event at 3,000 points.
Looking forward to that. It'll be good.
So the idea there is, again, it's not competitive. It's about telling a story and playing with rules and things like that. So that should be good fun. And in November as well, Blood and Glory, which is happening in Derby. Games Workshop are going to be in attendance.
Great.
With the video cameras, because there's Age of Sigmar and 40k as well. Fantastic. So you can go to, if you Google Bad Dice Blood and Glory, you'll find the site for that as well.
Fantastic news. And we'll put all those links in the comments below, so you guys can just easily get hold of them as much as you need to. And also, we can follow you on Instagram, is that right?
Yeah, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook as well. If you want to search for The Imperial Truth across Twitter and Facebook, and then I'm on Instagram as well. At Child of Fang is me on the internet generally, is at Child of Fang, as well as the show.
Fantastic news. So make sure you give Greg a follow and see what he's up to during the week. So that's all that remains to say. Dan, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. It was a brilliant game.
Enjoyed it?
Time. Fantastic. Yeah, absolutely.
And Greg, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate it. I know it's been really hot today, and might be able to
tell.
We are dripping with sweat at the moment. We're relieved to get out and about. But don't forget, if you want to see more photos from this game, you can go to the Facebook page. 30k channel is on Instagram as well, so you can see all the links to the bottom there. So please go check us out. Gents, amazing game. I'd love to have you back, so we'll try and sort some dates with you, maybe different opponents or something, or we'll see what we can do. And guys, we will see you in the next game. Thanks very much.